Marcus Johnson was a janitor at Westfield Academy, a school where rich people sent their children. He had worked there for more than 10 years. Every day, he mopped the floors, took out trash, and fixed broken things. The students hardly looked at him. To them, he was just a man in gray clothes who cleaned up their messes. Marcus was 52 years old with gray hair at his temples and strong hands that were rough from years of hard work. He always smiled at the students, even when they didn't smile back. He never complained about the long hours or the low pay. Marcus was happy to have a steady job that paid his bills and kept a roof over his head. Every day was the same for Marcus. He arrived at school before the sun came up. He cleaned the hallways before students filled them. During the day, he fixed whatever needed fixing. When something spilled, they called Marcus. When a light went out, they called Marcus. But no one ever really talked to Marcus. The only time Marcus felt truly happy at work was during his lunch break. While the students and teachers ate in the big cafeteria, Marcus would quietly slip into the empty music room. The room had a beautiful black piano that cost more money than Marcus had ever seen. It was a Steinway grand piano that the school had gotten as a gift from a rich family. Marcus would carefully wash his hands in the bathroom before he entered the music room. Then he would softly close the door behind him. He would sit on the piano bench and gently touch the smooth keys with his fingertips. And then magic would happen. Music would fill the empty room as Marcus played. His fingers danced over the keys, creating beautiful sounds that no one at the school knew he could make. Marcus had been playing piano since he was a little boy. His mother had cleaned houses for rich people, and one of them had let him practice on their piano. He had a natural talent that his mother had called a gift from God. Marcus had even gone to a famous music school called Juilliard when he was young. But he had to leave after 2 years when his mother got very sick. He needed to take care of her and make money. So his dream of being a famous piano player ended, and his life of hard work began. For years, no one knew about Marcus's secret talent. He kept it hidden like a precious treasure. Playing the piano during his lunch breaks kept his spirit alive during long days of thankless work. The beautiful music was his own private joy that no one could take away from him. On this particular day, Marcus played a difficult piece by a composer named Chopin. His eyes were closed as his fingers moved quickly over the keys. The music filled his heart and made him forget about his tired back and sore knees. For these few minutes, he wasn't a janitor. He was an artist. Marcus was so lost in the music that he didn't hear the door open. He didn't notice the group of students who stood watching him with wide eyes and open mouths. Among them was Sophia Blackwell, the daughter of the richest man in town. Her father had donated millions to the school. Sophia wore expensive clothes and looked down on people she thought were beneath her. "What are you doing touching that piano?" Sophia's sharp voice cut through the music like a knife. Marcus's eyes snapped open. His hands froze over the keys. The beautiful music stopped suddenly, leaving the room in awkward silence. Marcus quickly stood up, his face hot with embarrassment. He had been caught in his private moment, and now he was in trouble. Little did anyone know that this embarrassing moment would change everything at Westfield Academy, especially for Marcus and Sophia. "I'm sorry, Miss Sophia. I was just," Marcus started to say, quickly standing up from the piano bench. His hand shook as he tried to explain. "You were just what? That piano costs more than you make in 10 years, Sophia said with a mean laugh. Her friends stood behind her, all wearing the same look of shock and disgust on their faces. "Do you even know what you're touching?" asked a tall boy with blonde hair. "That's a Steinway concert grand piano. It's worth over $100,000. Marcus looked down at his shoes. "I know what it is," he said softly. "Oh, he knows what it is," mocked another girl, making the others laugh harder. "Then you should know that people like you shouldn't touch nice things like this." Marcus felt his chest tighten. He had worked at the school for so long, but moments like this still hurt. He reached for his cleaning cart, wanting to leave the room as fast as he could. I was just checking if it needed cleaning, he lied, not wanting to get in trouble. I'll go now. Sophia put her hand on the piano like she was checking if it was dirty. Make sure you clean your fingerprints off it first, she said. Just as Marcus was about to leave, Mrs. Reynolds walked into the music room. She was the school's music teacher, a kind woman with gray hair and glasses who had taught at Westfield for 20 years. She had heard the noise from her office next door. What's happening in here? Mrs. Reynolds asked, looking from the students to Marcus. We caught the janitor playing with the Steinway, Sophia said, rolling her eyes. Can you believe it? Mrs. Reynolds looked at Marcus with surprise. You play the piano, Mr. Johnson. Before Marcus could answer, one of the boys laughed. He was just pressing keys randomly. It sounded awful. That's strange, Mrs. Reynolds said, frowning, because what I heard from my office didn't sound random at all. She turned to Marcus. In fact, it sounded like Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, and it was played very well. The students stopped laughing. They looked at each other with confusion. You must have been listening to a recording, Sophia said, not believing that the janitor could play so well. Mrs. Reynolds shook her head. There's no recording playing in here. She walked to Marcus and smiled kindly at him. Mr. Johnson, how long have you been playing piano? Marcus looked at his feet again. Since I was 6 years old, ma'am. The students' mouths dropped open in surprise. Would you mind playing something for us? Mrs. Reynolds asked. I'd love to hear more. Marcus looked at the students' faces. Some looked confused, others looked angry, and Sophia just looked like she didn't believe him. I don't think that's a good idea, Marcus said, moving toward the door again. He just wanted to escape this awkward situation. Please, Mrs. Reynolds said, just one piece. These students could learn something today that has nothing to do with their regular classes. Marcus hesitated. He hadn't played in front of people for many years. His heart beat fast as he thought about it. But there was something in Mrs. Reynolds' kind eyes that gave him courage. Slowly, he walked back to the piano. The students watched with wide eyes as he sat down on the bench again. Marcus took a deep breath and placed his hands on the keys. Then he began to play. The room filled with powerful music as Marcus played Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. His fingers moved quickly and surely across the keys. The beautiful, sad notes filled every corner of the room. Marcus closed his eyes as he played, forgetting about the students watching him. He forgot about being a janitor. He forgot about being mocked. He just felt the music flowing through him. Sophia's smirk slowly faded as she watched Marcus play. Her friends stopped whispering and just stared at the janitor's hands. Even Mrs. Reynolds looked surprised at how good he was. Nobody in the room moved or spoke. They all just listened as the janitor they had ignored for years showed them something amazing. The music grew louder and more powerful, and Marcus's face showed deep feeling as he played each note perfectly. No one in that room would ever look at Marcus Johnson the same way again. When the last note of the Moonlight Sonata faded away, the room stayed silent for a long moment. No one moved. No one spoke. It was like they were all under a spell. Then Mrs. Reynolds started to clap. Soon, everyone was clapping, even some of Sophia's friends. Only Sophia stood still, her arms crossed over her chest. That was beautiful, Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Reynolds said, her eyes shining with tears. Where did you learn to play like that? Marcus looked down at his hands resting on the piano keys. He hadn't told anyone at the school about his past. For 10 years, he had kept his secret, but now it seemed right to share it. I went to Juilliard, he said quietly. The room went silent again. Juilliard was one of the best music schools in the world. Only the most talented musicians could study there. You went to Juilliard? Mrs. Reynolds asked, her eyes wide with surprise. When? A long time ago, Marcus said. I was there for 2 years. Then my mother got sick. I had to come home to take care of her. I needed to make money, so I started working. I never went back. Sophia's face turned red. You're lying, she said, Why would someone from Juilliard be working as a janitor? Mrs. Reynolds gave Sophia a sharp look. Life doesn't always go as planned, Sophia. Many talented people face hard times. If he's so good, why isn't he famous? Why isn't he playing in concerts? Sophia asked, still not believing Marcus's story. Marcus smiled sadly. Not everyone who has talent gets to be famous. Sometimes life gets in the way. Mrs. Reynolds put her hand on Marcus's shoulder. Mr. Johnson, our piano player for the spring concert, just called yesterday to say he can't make it. He broke his wrist. Would you consider playing for us? We would pay you, of course. Marcus blinked in surprise. You want me to play? In the concert? In front of everyone? Yes, Mrs. Reynolds said firmly. After what I just heard, I can't think of anyone better. The bell rang, telling students it was time for their next class. Mrs. Reynolds looked at the students. You should all get to class now. Thank you for coming. The students left slowly, looking back at Marcus with new interest. Only Sophia stayed behind. Mr. Johnson, she said, her voice different now, softer. I'm sorry for what I said. I didn't know. Marcus nodded. It's okay. You couldn't have known. As Sophia walked out of the room, Marcus turned back to Mrs. Reynolds. Do you really want me to play in the concert? I haven't performed in front of people for over 20 years. I'm very serious, she said. Your talent shouldn't be hidden away. You play better than many professional musicians I know. Marcus thought about it. He hadn't dreamed of playing in public again. For years, his music had been just for him. But now, the idea of sharing it with others made his heart beat faster. I would need to practice more, he said. I'm a bit rusty. Mrs. Reynolds smiled. You can use this room during your breaks and after school if you want, and I can give you the music for the choir pieces so you can learn them. For the first time in many years, Marcus felt a spark of hope. Maybe his dream wasn't completely dead. Maybe there was still a chance to be the musician he had once wanted to be. Okay, he said. I'll do it. Word spread quickly through the school. By lunchtime, everyone had heard about the janitor who could play piano like a professional. Students who had never noticed Marcus before now stared at him as he worked. Teachers who had walked past him for years suddenly stopped to talk to him. Marcus kept his head down and did his job as usual. But inside, he felt different. Something had changed. After hiding who he really was for so long, people finally saw him. Not just as the man who cleaned their school, but as a person with a gift. A person with a story. And his story was just beginning to unfold in ways he never expected. The next few weeks were busy for Marcus. During the day, he still cleaned the school. He mopped floors, fixed broken desks, and took out trash. But now, during his lunch breaks and after school, he practiced piano in the music room. Mrs. Reynolds gave him the music for the spring concert. There were 10 songs that the choir would sing, and Marcus needed to learn them all. He also practiced his own piece, the one he would play alone. He chose Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2, one of the hardest pieces in classical music. It was a piece he had learned at Juilliard, but hadn't played in many years. As Marcus practiced, students often stopped by the music room to listen. They would stand quietly in the doorway, amazed by the janitor's skill. Some of them began to say hello to him in the hallways. A few even learned his name. Good morning, Mr. Johnson, they would say as he swept the floor. That was amazing yesterday. Others would tell him after hearing him practice. Marcus was not used to this attention. For years, he had been invisible at the school. Now suddenly, people saw him. They talked to him. They respected him. It felt strange but good. One day, as Marcus was fixing a broken light in the hallway, he saw Sophia walking toward him. She had avoided him since the day in the music room. Now she stopped and looked up at him on his ladder. Mr. Johnson, she said, her voice quiet. I wanted to ask you something. Marcus climbed down from the ladder. What is it, Miss Sophia? I'm taking piano lessons, she said. I have been for 6 years. but I'm not very good. My teacher says I don't have feeling when I play." She looked down at her shoes. "I was wondering if you could listen to me play sometime. Maybe give me some advice." Marcus was surprised. This was the same girl who had mocked him just weeks ago. "I'm not a teacher," he said. "I know," Sophia said, "but you have something my teacher doesn't have. When you play, everyone feels it. I want to learn how to do that." Marcus thought about it. He had never taught piano before, but he remembered how his teachers at Juilliard had helped him. Maybe he could help Sophia too. "Okay," he said. "I can listen to you play tomorrow after school. Is that good?" Sophia's face lit up with a smile. "Yes, thank you, Mr. Johnson." She hurried away down the hall. That afternoon, the principal called Marcus to his office. Marcus was worried. Had he done something wrong? Was he in trouble for using the piano so much? When he entered the office, the principal, Mr. Davis, was sitting behind his desk. Next to him was a man Marcus had never seen before. "Mr. Johnson," said Mr. Davis, "this is Mr. Blackwell, Sophia's father. He's also the head of our school board." Marcus's stomach tightened. Was Sophia's father here to complain about him? "Mr. Johnson," Mr. Blackwell said, standing up to shake Marcus's hand. "I've heard a lot about you from my daughter. She says you're an amazing piano player." "I enjoy playing," Marcus said simply. "More than that," Mr. Blackwell said. "Sophia tells me you studied at Juilliard. Is that true?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, sir. For 2 years." Mr. Blackwell looked impressed. "And now you're going to play at the spring concert?" "Yes, sir. Mrs. Reynolds asked me to." Mr. Blackwell smiled. "Well, I wanted to meet you. And to thank you." "Thank me?" Marcus was confused. "My daughter has been taking piano lessons for years, but she's never been excited about it. Now suddenly, she's practicing every day. She says she wants to play like you do." Marcus didn't know what to say. "I also want to tell you," Mr. Blackwell continued, "that I've made a donation to the school. We're going to give you a small payment for playing in the concert. It's not much, but it's a way to say thank you." Marcus was shocked. "That's very kind, but it's not necessary." "It is necessary," Mr. Blackwell said firmly. "Talent should be recognized." As Marcus left the office, he felt like he was in a dream. Just weeks ago, he had been afraid of losing his job for touching the piano. Now he was being paid to play it. Life could change so quickly. The next day after school, Marcus waited in the music room for Sophia. He had finished his cleaning work early so he could have time to listen to her play. He was nervous. He had never taught anyone before. Sophia came in carrying sheet music. She looked nervous too. "Thank you for doing this, Mr. Johnson," she said as she sat down at the piano. "You can call me Marcus when we're here," he said with a kind smile. "Now show me what you can do." Sophia placed her music on the piano and began to play. She played a piece by Mozart. Her fingers hit all the right notes, but something was missing. The music didn't have life. It was like she was just pushing keys down in the right order without feeling the music. When she finished, she looked at Marcus. "What do you think?" Marcus thought for a moment. He didn't want to hurt her feelings, but he wanted to help her. "You play all the right notes," he said. "But music is more than notes. It's feelings. It's stories. When I play, I think about what the music is saying. What story is it telling?" Sophia looked confused. "My teacher never talks about stories. She just tells me if I play the right notes or not." Marcus nodded. "That's important too. But great music touches people's hearts. To do that, you need to play with your heart." He sat down next to her on the piano bench. "Let me show you." Marcus began to play the same Mozart piece that Sophia had played, but when he played it, the music came alive. It was like the notes were dancing and singing. Sophia watched his hands and his face as he played. When he finished, Sophia's eyes were wide. "How do you do that?" "When I play this piece," Marcus said, "I think about a sunny day in a beautiful garden. People are dancing and laughing. I try to make the piano tell that story." He pointed to the music. Try again. But this time, think about a story that this music tells you. Sophia played again. This time, she closed her eyes sometimes as she played. The music was still not perfect, but it had more feeling. Better, Marcus said when she finished. Much better. You have talent, Sophia. You just need to let the music speak through you. Sophia smiled, proud of herself. Can we do this again tomorrow? Of course, Marcus said. I'm here every day. As the weeks passed, Sophia came to the music room almost every day after school. Marcus helped her with her playing. He showed her how to make the music tell stories. He taught her tricks he had learned at Juilliard. Sophia worked hard. She practiced for hours at home. She listened carefully to everything Marcus told her. And she got better. Much better. One day, Mrs. Reynolds heard Sophia playing as she walked by the music room. She stopped and listened, surprised by how good it sounded. She looked in and saw Marcus sitting next to Sophia, nodding as she played. After Sophia finished playing, Mrs. Reynolds walked in clapping. Sophia, that was wonderful, she said. You've improved so much. Sophia smiled. It's all because of Mr. Johnson. I mean Marcus. He's been helping me. Mrs. Reynolds looked at Marcus with new respect. You're not just a good player. You're a good teacher too. Marcus felt his face get warm. He wasn't used to so many compliments. I just share what I know, he said. Mrs. Reynolds thought for a moment. Then she said, Sophia, how would you like to play a short piece in the spring concert too? You could play right before Marcus's solo. Sophia's mouth fell open. Me? Play in the concert? But I'm not good enough. Yes, you are, Marcus said firmly. You've worked hard. You deserve a chance to show what you can do. Sophia looked scared but excited. Okay, I'll do it, but only if Marcus helps me get ready. Of course I will, Marcus said with a smile. As they planned what piece Sophia would play in the concert, Marcus felt proud. He had come to this school just wanting to do his job and play piano in private. Now he was helping a student find her own music. And soon, they would both play for the whole school. For the first time in many years, Marcus felt like he was doing what he was meant to do. He wasn't just a janitor anymore. He was a musician again. And it felt right. The day of the spring concert was getting closer. Posters hung in the hallways of Westfield Academy announcing the event. In small letters at the bottom of the poster were the words, Special Piano Performances by Sophia Blackwell and Marcus Johnson. Seeing his name on the poster made Marcus's heart beat faster. He hadn't performed in public for more than 20 years. What if he made a mistake? What if people laughed at him? But he kept practicing. Every day, he played for hours after finishing his cleaning work. His fingers moved faster and surer over the keys as the days passed. The music was coming back to him, flowing through him like it had when he was young. One week before the concert, Marcus was mopping the hallway when he heard someone call his name. He turned to see Mr. Blackwell walking toward him. Marcus, Mr. Blackwell said, "Can we talk for a minute?" "Of course, sir," Marcus said, leaning his mop against the wall. "My wife and I wanted to do something for you," Mr. Blackwell said. "To thank you for helping Sophia. She's never been so excited about piano before." Marcus smiled. "She's a good student. She works hard. Still, we want to show our thanks," Mr. Blackwell said. He handed Marcus a box. "This is for you to wear at the concert." Marcus opened the box. Inside was a new black suit. It looked expensive. Marcus had never owned such a nice suit before. "Sir, I can't accept this," Marcus said, trying to give the box back. "Please," Mr. Blackwell said. "Sophia picked it out herself. She wants you to look your best when you play." Marcus felt tears come to his eyes. He blinked them away quickly. "Thank you," he said quietly. "This is very kind. There's one more thing," Mr. Blackwell said. "I've invited some people to the concert. People who should hear you play." "What people?" Marcus asked, confused. "Some old friends from Juilliard," Mr. Blackwell said, "and the director of the City Symphony Orchestra. They're looking for a new piano player for next season." Marcus's mouth fell open. "Mr. Blackwell, I'm just a janitor. I haven't played seriously in years." "You're not just a janitor," Mr. Blackwell said firmly. "You're a musician who happens to work as a janitor right now. But maybe it's time for that to change." Marcus couldn't believe what he was hearing. Could he really become a professional musician after all these years? It seemed impossible. The next few days were a blur of practice and nerves. Marcus worked with Sophia every day, helping her prepare for her performance. She would play Chopin's Raindrop Prelude, a piece that was challenging but beautiful. With each practice, she got better. "You're ready," Marcus told her the day before the concert. "You're going to be wonderful." Sophia smiled, but she looked scared. "What if I make a mistake? Everyone will be watching." "If you make a mistake, keep going," Marcus said. "Most people won't even notice. And remember, play with your heart. Tell the story through the music." Sophia nodded, taking a deep breath. "I'll try." The night of the concert arrived. The school auditorium was packed with students, parents, and teachers. In the front row sat Mr. and Mrs. Blackwell, looking proud. Next to them were some people Marcus didn't know, but he guessed they were the Juilliard friends and the symphony director that Mr. Blackwell had mentioned. Backstage, Marcus paced back and forth in his new suit. He hadn't been this nervous in years. He could hear the school choir singing their first songs, accompanied by a CD player. Soon, he would go on stage and play for them. And then he would play his solo piece. Mrs. Reynolds came backstage. "Are you ready, Marcus? The choir is about to sing their last song before you and Sophia play." Marcus took a deep breath. "I'm ready," he said, even though his hands were shaking. As he waited for his cue to go on stage, Marcus thought about how much his life had changed in just a few weeks. From being invisible to being the center of attention. From being mocked to being respected. From hiding his talent to sharing it with the world. No matter what happened next, Marcus knew one thing for sure. He would never go back to hiding who he really was. The moment finally came. The choir finished their last song, and the audience clapped. Then Mrs. Reynolds walked to the center of the stage. "Thank you to our wonderful choir," she said into the microphone. "Now we have something special for you. First, please welcome one of our students, Sophia Blackwell, who will play Chopin's Raindrop Prelude." The audience clapped as Sophia walked onto the stage. She was wearing a blue dress and looked very nervous. She sat down at the piano and took a deep breath. Then she began to play. The first notes were a little shaky, but soon Sophia found her rhythm. She remembered what Marcus had taught her about telling a story with the music. She closed her eyes and thought about rain falling gently on a window. Her fingers moved smoothly over the keys, bringing the music to life. In the audience, Mr. and Mrs. Blackwell watched with proud smiles. They had never heard their daughter play so well. When Sophia finished, everyone clapped loudly. She stood up and bowed, her face glowing with happiness. Then Mrs. Reynolds came back to the microphone. "And now, I'd like to introduce someone many of you know, but few of you truly know. For years, he has kept our school clean and running smoothly. Today, he will show you another side of himself. Please welcome Marcus Johnson." Marcus walked onto the stage in his new black suit. Some students looked confused. Why was the janitor on stage? But others who had heard him practice began to clap excitedly. Marcus sat down at the piano. The room was so quiet he could hear his own breathing. He looked at the keys in front of him. The same keys he had played in secret for so long, but now everyone was watching. He began to play the songs for the choir. The students came back on stage and sang with his music. Marcus played perfectly, his fingers finding every note at just the right time. The choir had never sounded better. When the choir finished their songs, the students left the stage. Only Marcus remained, sitting at the piano. Mrs. Reynolds came to the microphone again. And now, Marcus Johnson will perform a solo piece, Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. Marcus took a deep breath. This was it, the moment he had been practicing for. He placed his hands on the keys and began to play. The music started softly, then grew stronger. His fingers flew across the keys, playing the difficult piece with amazing skill. The music filled the room, powerful and beautiful. In the audience, people sat in stunned silence. The man they had passed in the hallways every day without noticing was playing one of the hardest piano pieces in the world, and he was playing it perfectly. Mr. Blackwell's friends from Juilliard looked at each other with wide eyes. The director of the symphony orchestra leaned forward in his seat, watching Marcus closely. As Marcus played, he forgot about the audience. He forgot about being nervous. He forgot about being the janitor. He was just a man making music, letting his soul speak through his fingers. The piece grew more intense. Marcus's hands moved so fast, they were almost a blur. Sweat formed on his forehead, but he didn't stop. The music carried him forward, through all the difficult parts he had practiced for weeks. When he reached the most beautiful part of the music, some people in the audience had tears in their eyes. The sweet, sad melody touched their hearts. Marcus felt like he was flying. All the years of cleaning floors and fixing things disappeared. He was back on the stage where he belonged, doing what he was born to do. As the piece reached its powerful ending, Marcus put everything he had into the music. His fingers hit the final chords with perfect timing and strength. The last note hung in the air for a moment, then faded away. The room was completely silent for 3 seconds. Then someone started to clap. Then another person, and another. Suddenly, the whole audience was on their feet, clapping and cheering. It was the loudest applause anyone at Westfield Academy had ever heard. Marcus stood up from the piano bench and bowed. His heart was beating fast, and he could hardly believe what was happening. After 20 years of silence, his music was being heard again, and people loved it. After the concert, many people came up to Marcus to shake his hand. Teachers who had never spoken to him before now wanted to talk to him. Students asked for his autograph like he was a famous person. Parents thanked him for the beautiful music. "That was amazing, Mr. Johnson," one student said. "I've never heard anyone play like that," said a teacher. Marcus wasn't used to so much attention. He smiled and thanked everyone, but he felt strange with so many eyes on him. Sophia pushed through the crowd to reach him. She was still in her blue dress, her face shining with excitement. "We did it," she said, giving him a quick hug. "You were wonderful." "So were you," Marcus said. "You played with your heart tonight. I was very proud." Mr. and Mrs. Blackwell came over next. With them were the people they had invited to hear Marcus play. "Marcus," Mr. Blackwell said, "I'd like you to meet some people. This is Dr. Roberts, the head of the piano department at Juilliard." A tall woman with gray hair shook Marcus's hand. "Mr. Johnson, your playing was exceptional. You were a student of ours long ago." "Yes," Marcus said, "for 2 years. Then I had to leave. A great loss for the music world." Dr. Roberts said, "But perhaps not a permanent one." Next, Mr. Blackwell introduced a man in a dark suit. "This is Mr. Daniels, director of the City Symphony Orchestra." "Mr. Johnson," said Mr. Daniels, shaking Marcus's hand firmly. "I must say, I came here as a favor to Harold Blackwell. I didn't expect to discover such talent. We're looking for a pianist for our upcoming season. Would you be interested in auditioning?" Marcus felt like he was in a dream. "Audition for the symphony? Me?" "Yes, you," Mr. Daniels said with a smile. "We need someone who can play Rachmaninoff like you just did." Marcus looked at Mr. Blackwell, who was smiling. Then at Mrs. Reynolds, who had tears in her eyes. Then at Sophia, who was nodding excitedly. "I would be honored," Marcus said finally. Mr. Daniels gave Marcus his card. "Call my office next week to set up a time. And Mr. Johnson, based on what I heard tonight, I'd say you have an excellent chance." As the crowd thinned out, the school principal, Mr. Davis, approached Marcus. "Johnson," he said, "that was quite a performance. I had no idea you could play like that." "Thank you, sir," Marcus said. Mr. Davis looked serious. "I've been thinking. Our music program needs help. Mrs. Reynolds has too many classes to teach. We need an assistant music teacher, someone who knows piano, someone who can connect with the students." He paused. "Would you be interested?" Marcus stared at the principal. "Me? A teacher here?" "Yes," Mr. Davis said. "You'd have to take some certification courses, but we can help with that. We'd adjust your schedule so you could still handle some maintenance work until you're fully certified." "Sir," Marcus said slowly, "are you offering me a job as a music teacher?" "I am," Mr. Davis said. "You have talent, Johnson. And more importantly, you have patience. Look what you did with Sophia Blackwell. That's what teaching is all about." Marcus didn't know what to say. In one night, his life had completely changed. He had gone from being just the janitor to having job offers as a pianist and a teacher. "Can I think about it?" Marcus asked. "Of course," Mr. Davis said. "Take the weekend. Let me know on Monday." As the auditorium emptied out, Marcus sat alone at the piano. He ran his fingers over the keys that had changed his life. Just a few weeks ago, he had been afraid to touch this piano. Now it had opened doors he thought were closed forever. For the first time in many years, Marcus had choices. He could continue as a janitor, or he could become a teacher. He could audition for the symphony, or he could do both teaching and playing. His future, once so limited, was now full of possibilities. Marcus played a few soft notes on the piano. The music floated through the empty room like a promise of things to come. 3 years passed. On a warm spring evening, people filled the seats of the city concert hall. The crowd buzzed with excitement, waiting for the performance to begin. Backstage, Sophia Blackwell, now 19 years old, paced nervously in her long black dress. She was about to play her first solo with the city's symphony orchestra. She had practiced for months, but still, her hands shook. A door opened, and Marcus Johnson walked in. He wore a black suit and a confident smile. He was no longer a janitor. Now he was the assistant music teacher at Westfield Academy and a regular pianist with the city's symphony orchestra. "Nervous?" he asked Sophia. "Terrified," she admitted. "What if I mess up?" Marcus smiled. "Remember what I told you 3 years ago. Play it with your heart. Tell the story through the music." Sophia nodded, taking a deep breath. "I wouldn't be here without you, Marcus. No one believed in me like you did." "You did the work," Marcus said. "I just showed you the way." The stage manager poked his head in. 5 minutes, Miss Blackwell." After the stage manager left, Sophia looked at Marcus with serious eyes. "Sometimes I think about that day, when I was so mean to you for touching the piano." "That was a long time ago," Marcus said. "We were different people then." "I was awful," Sophia said. "I'm still sorry about it, and I'm still grateful for it," Marcus said with a smile. "If you hadn't caught me that day, I might still be mopping floors and playing in secret. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best changes." The door opened again. This time it was Mr. and Mrs. Blackwell coming to wish their daughter good luck. "There's our star," Mr. Blackwell said, hugging Sophia. Then he turned to Marcus. "And there's the man who made it all possible." "Sophia did the hard work," Marcus said. "I'm just proud to have been part of her journey." Mrs. Blackwell hugged Marcus too. "You changed our daughter's life, Marcus, and I think she changed yours as well." "We all changed each other," Marcus said. "That's how life works." The stage manager returned. "It's time, Miss Blackwell." Sophia's parents wished her luck and went to find their seats. Marcus walked with Sophia to the edge of the stage. "Remembered," he said, "you belong out there, just like I did, even when I didn't know it." Sophia hugged him quickly, then walked onto the stage. The audience clapped as she sat down at the grand piano. She adjusted the microphone that had been set up for her to speak. "Good evening," she said. "Before I play, I want to share a story. 3 years ago, I was a spoiled rich girl who thought I knew everything. I caught our school janitor playing the piano and made fun of him for it." She paused. That janitor was Marcus Johnson, now a pianist with this very orchestra, and the teacher who changed my life. The audience murmured in surprise. "Tonight," Sophia continued, "I'll be playing the same piece Mr. Johnson was playing the day I mocked him. Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major. This performance is dedicated to him, with my deepest thanks and respect." In the wings, Marcus watched with tears in his eyes as Sophia began to play. Her fingers moved with confidence and feeling over the keys. The music filled the concert hall, touching every heart with its beauty. As he watched his students shine, Marcus thought about the strange path his life had taken. From Juilliard to janitor to professional musician and teacher. From being invisible to being respected. From hiding his gift to sharing it with the world. Sometimes life took unexpected turns. Sometimes a moment of shame could lead to a lifetime of joy. Sometimes being caught doing what you love is the best thing that can happen to you. When Sophia finished playing, the audience stood and cheered. Marcus clapped louder than anyone, proud of how far they had both come. The janitor and the rich girl. Both changed forever by a moment with a piano and the music that had finally brought their true selves to light. The end.